friends, and the things that matter most. That's why there's access from AT&T. If you are a California resident and a member of your household participates in SNAP or receives SSI benefits, you may qualify for home internet at a discounted rate of $10 a month. No commitment, no deposit, no installation fee. Plus, get an in-home Wi-Fi gateway at no extra cost. Call 1-855-220-5211 or visit att.com/aware to learn more.
SNAP refers to the Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. SSI refers to the Federal Supplemental Security Income Program. Pricing excludes taxes and fees. Service will include a monthly data allowance depending on the type and speed of service you receive. If you exceed your monthly data plan allowance, you will be automatically charged $10 for each 50 gigabytes of data usage in excess of your data plan, even if less than 50 gigabytes is used. For details about data allowances, go to att.com/internet-usage. Wi-Fi enabled device required. Other restrictions apply.
Looking for a new place to eat? Delicious food at a great value? The Tri-City Center in Redlands is proud to announce the grand opening of a fine new dining establishment. Terry's Diner, at the former location of the Spunky Steer in Redlands, is officially open for business daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. with delicious, mouth-watering breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Treat yourself to Terry's tasty dessert menu, such as Terry's famous sundaes, banana splits, hot fudge cake, old-fashioned root beer floats, frosties, cakes, and pies, too. You'll find weekly lunch and dinner specials, all under $10, including Angus steaks, burgers, Greek salads, pasta seafoods with wine and beer. Terry's brings years of tasty temptations from DJs in San Bernardino and Alta Loma. Join a new tradition in Redlands. Stop by at 1350 Industrial Park Avenue between Tennessee and Alabama in the Tri-City Center. Google Terry's Diner Redlands on Yelp or find them terrysdinerredlands.com.
News, weather, and talk on KCAA 102.3 FM, broadcasting to the Moreno Valley, Corona, and Riverside.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the greatest real estate investment show ever. Here's the flip-flop investor himself, Todd Bayer.
Hey everyone, how we doing out there today? This is the Flip Flop Investor Show, and I am your host, Todd Bayer, the Flip Flop Investor himself. For those of you that don't know, we get together every single week. We talk about real estate investing here in the Inland Empire, and really we talk about real estate investing anywhere that it applies. Of course, we're not attorneys or anything like that, so don't take anything we say too seriously until you talk to your financial advisors and attorneys regarding whatever we're talking about, because that would make you crazy. If you listen to our advice and take it and do whatever you want with it and then say I'm at fault for losing you money or something. So, always check with your people. I don't know why I'm saying that. But anyway, this week, every week, in fact, we get together and talk to a local expert, somebody who knows the real estate industry very, very well. And this week we have an awesome guest, an author. And the author of Master Vacation Rentals, Jeff Pierce. How you doing today, Jeff?
Hey, I'm good.
Yeah? A pretty good day so far, right?
Not bad.
Not too bad.
No major systems in the houses broke.
Well, that's good.
No customers have complained yet, so
that's good.
Well, it's getting ready for the weekend, so this is the point where sending out the text that they're going to see the host or the property manager is going to let them in, and what time they're coming and what kind of fees they need to bring for the pool heat and things like that.
Oh, right. So it's about to be go time. Right now it's like the quiet, the lull.
Yeah, it's the lull. although this is when we get to do maintenance, so we're making sure there's toilet paper and shampoo and the major systems in the house are working. We've got some rain coming, so we did some roof patching today.
Okay, fun.
Yeah, so there's a lot of reality involved with this.
Yeah, well, it's good that, actually, I shouldn't say it's good because roof patching in the wintertime is like the worst time for a roof patch. Is your roofer giving you a good rate on your roof patches?
A very fair deal. No complaints.
Okay, well, that's good. In case they're listening, it was a very fair deal.
Yeah. If you get someone to show up, it's a win.
That's true. Yeah, I know. Oh, God. Being around the industry long enough.
And if the patch doesn't hold, I did my due diligence. I tried.
That's true, you did.
Yeah, and it only rains 5 days a year in Palm Springs, so.
Really? Is that the average?
That's what they say.
Yeah?
It's a lie, though.
It's a lie? I don't think you know what? No, I did. I did go out there one day when it was raining. Not that bad, though. It was just kind of sprinkling.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was in the summertime.
I think the quote I've heard is we get 360 days of sun a year.
I mean, that's pretty amazing if
But that's a
really
lie.
the case. But it's a lie. Have you ever actually broken it down to what it really is?
I don't know. It's really whenever my folks or family visit, it rains.
It rains
on
every
them.
single time.
Yeah.
So-
And they're like, "Why do you live here?"
It's so dreary and rainy all the time.
Yeah. So I don't have to hear you complaining, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. All right. So, Master Vacation Rentals. I mean, this is a good book. I actually
you.
read the book, and you're the first author we've actually had on the show.
Wow.
Or at least first author that wanted to admit that they were an author, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. No. I was looking for a project last year because I had finished my third vacation rental, getting that off the ground. And
Okay.
I was just kind of stewing and like, whoa, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I was looking for a project, and I've done a lot of projects before in really with Silicon Valley and working with different startups. And I was mulling over, I'm like, well, do I want to do a billing app, or, what kind of app do I want to do? And
Okay.
I was thinking, and it so happened I had just put my house in Paso Robles on the market, or on the Airbnb market, and we were getting guests and things like that, and we were testing out the new crew. So there were some housekeeping issues with the housekeepers, and my property manager that's up there full time, she goes over the house whenever we have issues and things like that, and she was kind of blowing it off like, well, it's no big deal, right? I said, Linda, read my reviews.
Yeah.
So she read the review. She goes, oh, I get it. And then she said, you're a star. I'm like, well, I have good reviews. And I was like, you know what? I guess I do know this. So why don't I make my project about something that I've been living day in and day out, and do something I know?
Right.
So that was last year, December 28th exactly. So it's been about a year since I had the thought. We went to press in September. We launched in October, and I met you guys in November.
Yeah, you came to the investment club.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did, and it's been a good ride.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, I'm glad you came because we had a guy that came to the club. He was sort of our short-term Airbnb mentor. This guy, he came a lot, but he's been working on projects down in Mexico and hasn't been coming to the club. Which, if you're going to be a mentor to the people in the audience in the club, you got to be present and actually be available to help mentor people. So, he doesn't know this yet, but we're probably going to be swapping him out with somebody new as the short-term rental mentor.
And if my tires get slashed, I'll know.
Yeah, we'll know who it was. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I think he understands because there's sort of a level of if you want to help people and actually put together resources to help people, especially in something like short-term rentals, it's a very difficult place to navigate if you don't know what you're doing. So having a guide to sort of say, nah, here's the channel you want to stay within, let's just keep your boat going that way. That's sort of, you got to be present for that. And so having him being gone has been kind of tough because, every month at the club, we're always saying, here's the list of mentors. Here's the people that are mentors in the club that are here to help you in your business. And here's this guy, but he's not here. So sorry, and it'd be good to have somebody that's at least there that can answer people's questions because,
and the questions do roll in, and it's great because I learn too. I mean, people ask really thought-provoking questions
Right.
and things that I learn from, and especially at the club, a lot of people have a real financial slant, so they're asking like, well, rules of thumb on percentages and things like that. I'm like, don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. I can tell you that my houses all have toilet paper right now, and
Right.
I could tell you that the roof has been patched and things like that. But they ask these financial questions, and then I go back and I figure it out, and it's like. But I know that the numbers are working, so that's
right.
That's the main thing, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because, when you get into something like Airbnb, the first people that get into it are sort of like those pioneers, right? The people that are like, this is just awesome. I'm just going to do it, and you just jump in and do it. And, the whole, financial model, building out a prospectus and all this, things that people probably want you to do. If you were to go for, some major funding round or something and try to, buy 100 properties at once, they're going to want to see some, financial model that makes financial sense and all this stuff. But when you're just I just believe in this thing, I want to see it happen, you're just going to go and take part and do it. And the financial stuff comes a little bit later sometimes where, maybe you're like, okay, it looked like it was going to make sense. You obviously did it because you thought it was a sound investment, but also it wasn't probably boiled down to the most minute thing at the very beginning where you're like, okay, here's all the things that are going to cost me money. You know, they're going to use 1.3 toilet paper rolls per stay. You know, like you don't break it down to that level at the very beginning. But now that you've been doing it a while, like you probably break it down quite a bit more than that. Well,
a lot of it's still pretty organic. You sometimes you run out of stuff, but you try to keep a stock room. In fact, my place in Paso Robles, I say that the garage is a mini Smart and Final.
Okay.
So I hate running out of stuff.
Yeah.
This week, actually, the housekeeper said, "I'm out of bleach." I'm like, I cannot go to the store right now and run and get you a bottle of bleach. So I did the Smart and Final app and had a whole truckload of stuff delivered. So yeah,
I was gonna say, because there's like some new things out there like Instacart. There's some other apps you could use to like have things delivered to the house.
Yeah, those are your friends. Yeah, you've got to make use of all those tools.
Amazon Prime and
exactly.
You know. So do you have certain things on a subscription like that where like coffee
No,
pots
it's all seat of the pants. Thank you for mentioning the coffee pot. Yeah, so I've contradicted myself in the book. I say have extra coffee makers, extra coffee pots.
Yeah.
So I had one break and. You know, they always break or the guests find out in the morning. So it's morning for them. It's morning for me.
Yeah.
I'm finding out that they're not having coffee and I'm thinking, wow, not to have coffee. That's pretty extreme. Let me drop everything and get them a new coffee maker.
Right.
So now instead of getting
the coffee carafes are like, they're not cheap either.
Yeah. And finding it in the garage or, I mean, it's just a hassle, right? So now I've contradicted the book.
Okay.
Official contradiction, the metal ones.
Buy the metal coffee carafes.
Yeah, metal.
Yeah, and metal's a better conductor anyway, right? They keeps your coffee warm.
Yeah. So and I could prove myself wrong too. I might end up going back to something else or the Keurigs. You never know.
Keurig, yeah.
That's a little advanced.
I hate the Keurig coffee. I don't like it.
You can only make one cup at a time, right?
Well, and they have the ones you can make like a mini carafe or something like that. But even that, the coffee comes out, it doesn't taste as good as like a drip coffee would. Or, I prefer pour over when I do coffee, but it's, it's just not the same.
Well, and the thing is with guests, you really have to go with what, I don't want to say lowest common denominator, but people have trouble. I have trouble with Roku. So,
yeah.
And then Keurigs, not everyone is Keurig proficient. So we go with the drips.
Yeah, you'd have to put together a nice little list of like all the instructions, like remove old K-cup, put in new K-cup, make sure there's water in there,
and then it's still hope for the best.
Right, exactly. Make sure you have a cup there when you press the go button, because if you don't, it's just going to go everywhere over the counter.
Yeah,
been there, done that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the coffee pots are probably just better. Most people probably know how to use a drip coffee machine if they drink coffee.
Yeah, and all these details though, at the end of the day. You want to get a good review.
Yeah.
And you get the good review, you get more guests. You give them good service, you get more good reviews, you get more business, you get repeat business. And really, it's all about the reviews. And, when I get a really good review, it's good that it's a good financial model and it's giving me financial flexibility, and it's interesting, and I enjoy the hospitality aspect of it. But when you have a satisfied guest, they let you know it.
Yeah.
They really, really, really do. And in the book, I have guests that their public comments are glowing, and then thankfully they're pretty nice. In the private comments, they say this, this, and this, and this, and this was wrong.
Yeah.
And I learned from all those things.
Right.
And so that's the nice thing about being on a social platform.
Yeah.
That you do get the feedback, and you can get rewarded for it.
Yeah. And there's, one thing I noticed you focus on, which Patrick Diamond, the guy that he was also he's the current mentor of the short-term rentals in the club, but Patrick, his emphasis and yours as well is the guest experience. That's really what you need to focus on. So many people, I think, are focusing too much on like I can make some really good money on this. They're focusing so much on that they cheap out in some areas, and they don't spend the time or the money to really think about how you'd use it. And the example you gave in the book about towel bars, how the towel bars you had mounted to like just the drywall and not properly anchored, and they weren't plugged, they weren't drilled into studs. If you own the home and you use the home on a regular basis, you'll know don't hang anything heavy from that towel rack. Just put the washcloths on there or whatever.
Right.
But the person coming in your home doesn't know that little nuance about your house. So they're going to hang their kid on there. The kids are going to hang on it, and the towel bar is going to come right off the wall.
Exactly.
Which is, I'm probably sure is about what happened in your case for that. But, it's those little things, like every single thing you know about your house to be an issue or, a hack or something like that. Somebody coming in is not going to know that right off the bat. So, talk a little bit about like walking through your house like with a new fresh set of eyes and thinking about how to use your house, as a guest would.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And that comes to when you take the pictures for your listing and you do the captions, you really do have to paint a picture of what they could do in the house versus this is what's here.
Yeah.
You don't want to say, yes, we have a kitchen with a Kenmore washer. And, you want to say, wonderful galley kitchen, big pantry, all the cooking gear you would need for us.
Smell the sizzling bacon.
There you go.
Whatever you want.
There you go.
Paint a picture.
Please put on the fan if you cook bacon.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. The
like
smoke
that.
detector doesn't like you cooking bacon, but
yeah. And, that gets into then the all the communication that you have to have within the house, because I have a window in Paso Robles again that if you pull it too hard, it kind of comes off the track.
Okay, and then you got to figure out how to get back on there.
Yeah, so it says, please open gently.
Right.
Just a little sticker there.
So I'm sure you don't get many calls then from the Paso Robles property that say, hey, I pulled the door open and it fell off the track. You probably don't get calls about that anymore, right?
No, and I was the one that used to always take it off the track.
Oh, really?
So, and that's another thing, is to test your own place out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always great to test your own place out and show up unexpectedly. You can see how housekeeping left it.
Right.
And, just find things, not that you're finding fault, but test it out yourself and find those nuances, because, and I'm glad that Patrick thinks the same thing, but it is, the customer's always right. The customer is the guest. And our motto at Master of Vacation Rentals is we're making the guest experience better by helping hosts to be better.
Yeah.
So that's what we want. We
Yeah.
want hosts to be better so the guests can have a better experience, and that's what it's all about.
Sure. I mean, and you think about a hotel. If you were to go stay in a hotel, if you show up and the bathroom isn't clean, or the bed hasn't been made, or like something like that, you're gonna complain. That's an obvious thing that to be an issue, like when you go to a hotel. But like my first experience as a guest, staying in an Airbnb, we had got this condo. This girl had out in Hollywood, because we went out there to some conference. And,
sounds fun.
Yeah, well, she had this condo, and she wasn't going to be there. It was just going to be it was me and my partner Steven. We were staying in the condo just for a night. It's all the time we were going to be out there. But we go in, and it was very much her house. You know what I mean? Like, this was very much her place. She was actually out of the country. That's why she was renting it out on Airbnb at that time. But we go in, and it was very much her home. And I was like, there was no instruction. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what was fair game. Could we cook with her cookware?
Oh, I see.
Could we? Like, is it okay if we leave dishes in the sink? I had no idea. Like, she had a TV. Like, there's no we didn't even know where one of the remotes was. So we're trying to can we watch TV? Can we turn on her? She had an Xbox. Can we turn on the Xbox? What are the restrictions here? We didn't know. And I thought it was strange too. I actually said this on the show a few weeks ago. But I go into the bedroom and I'm unpacking my suitcase. I pull open the drawer and there's all of her underwear sitting. I'm like, okay, we're not using this dresser, I guess. So I just left everything in the suitcase.
Because it was the wrong size?
Yeah, it's just I wasn't going to be able to fit into it. She was much smaller than me. That was that was the problem.
I see.
No, but I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to take everything out of her drawer and put my stuff in.
But you bring up a good point. You have to detach yourself. It's not your house anymore.
Right.
It's the guests. It's for the guests.
Right.
And we go through this in the book. You should reflect, for Palm Springs, obviously it's, mid-century modern's big, architecture's big, Sinatra's big, things like that.
Yeah.
Have some coffee table books out that, take people back to that type of a vibe.
Sure.
And things like that, just put people into the environment that they're in.
Right. They're coming out there for that.
Exactly.
Most likely anyway, or at least that's an element of what they're coming there for.
Right. So let's say you're a Trekkie.
Okay.
You're not going to decorate your house, even if your personal place, you might have Trekkie paraphernalia and gear all over the place, or what have you.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yeah. unless you're creating unless your house looks like the Starship Enterprise or something. And people are coming for that particular.
That would
experience.
be thematic, and that's allowed.
And that's a themed. It's a theme park. You're going
That's
to
approved. Yes.
There was a hotel I stayed at in Zurich, Switzerland, called the Zigzag Rock Hotel.
Oh.
And so every single room in the hotel was modeled after a band or a rock group of some kind.
Nice.
So I stayed in one, and I cannot remember the name of the person whose room I was in, and the entire list of people on there I've heard of: AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, all these bands I've heard of.
Yep.
And I'm in this room of some guy I've never ever heard of. And it's the only one on the list. I'm like, why am I in this guy's room? I have no clue who this is.
But see how they made something out of nothing. You could have been in room 12, right?
Right.
But instead, they gave it some character. And it's in the book, and that's one of the houses. We have them named after Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor, Audrey Hepburn, Sophia Loren.
Okay.
And then the bar is the James Dean bar.
Oh, cool.
So it's all fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all, Palm Springs history,
Exactly. And we refer to the rooms as those names when we say, okay, well,
in the Marilyn Monroe room,
this crisis is happening in this room, and
Yeah. And then you like everybody on the team obviously knows where the issue is.
Exactly. They know which room is in need of something.
Right. Yeah. Which is good. I mean, it's all about systems. I'm a big systems person. I always like to make sure, everything kind of falls into its place. And, it's nice, especially when you think of a hotel room. I mean, every single time they make the room up for a new guest, it's going to be exactly the same. And every single standard is exactly. I mean, even down to the way the magazines are laid out on the table. It's identical. You're going to see it across every room in the hotel after one of the maids is done in there, with minor variations. Just the way they fold the toilet paper.
Right.
Like that's the last thing, or the way they fold the towel. Those are the things that might change slightly, but at least the towel is going to be clean. That.
Right. Yeah. The aesthetics are important, but so are the functional things, like having the certain number of towels in the rooms and all that.
And that's and I think that's the hard thing that Airbnb has to overcome for a lot of people, is that you don't know what you're going to get when you show up to these places.
Okay, great point, because I get a lot of questions. People are like, do you have pots and pans?
Yeah.
You're laughing because I do, right?
Right.
And
I know you do. But
it's ready to go, right? I mean, really, you just need to show up. You do need to bring your own beverages and things like that.
Sure, yeah. You don't have, in the James Dean bar, it's not fully stocked, ready for you to just tap into.
Guests do leave things, but I think housekeeping might pick that up and enjoy it either.
It was probably empty anyway, right?
Yeah.
Or close enough where nobody's going to notice, yeah.
Yeah. And having all that ready for them is very important.
Yeah, so the check-in process for people, also is sometimes a bit of a mystery. Like I know the first time we'd ever stayed in Airbnb, the girl, it was a concierge desk down in the bottom of this condo unit, so they had the key.
Oh, that's wonderful.
She had it worked out with them,
right.
which was good. But I've heard of a lot of strange guest experiences getting the key or getting access to the property, but. How do you handle it? Do you handle it with like a lockbox, or how's your general way of doing it?
We have lockbox when we have. There's a couple ways. In Paso Robles, we are not obligated to do a personal check-in, and that house is pretty easy just to give people the lockbox code. In fact, Airbnb lists us, I think, 100% of. The last so many guests said that there was no problem with access.
Okay.
So they have cleanliness, location, and access. Those are parameters that they've started putting on the listing. So I was happy to see that. And so generally, people can let themselves in there. Palm Springs, we are obligated to do a personal check-in.
Okay.
And
that's a city ordinance.
That's a city ordinance. And we were already doing personal check-ins on one of the houses just because there's an alarm. We want to show them where the fruit picker is, which in the book we say that's not a person. It's a thing on a stick where you can, twist the lemons off the tree. And we show them all that type of stuff, right? Where the pool light is and things like that. So it does need kind of that level of attention to take someone through the house and show them around. And we usually are able to no one comes at 3 a.m., so we're usually able to do the personal check-in.
Just walk them in, and are you also at that same time doing like a pre-check-in? Like, are you looking and saying, okay, everything's in this condition? Are you having them sign anything at that point?
Well, the city has us sign a form that they understand all the rules, which is good, and we collect their signatures.
And this is new for Palm Springs.
Relatively new, yeah. That ordinance came into effect, I want to say, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and it's pretty regimented. If I had known all these rules when I first started, I'm not sure if it would have been a little daunting. But it's all to protect. As you know, there was a vacation rental. You might not know, but there was a proposed vacation rental ban in Palm Springs.
Yep, and it just got downed. In the most recent election.
Yeah, in the June 5th primary. And we banded together and, educated folks. And I was on the visibility committee, so that means I was at the grocery store, that pest, handing out flyers, and we were flyering people, and what else? Phone bank. So just old school, educating.
Yeah, getting the word out.
Yeah, we're getting the word out, and we did beat it 70 to 30%.
Yeah, it was pretty good margin.
It was a pretty good margin, and the thing is, I understand the other side.
Right.
I do, because noise, it was mostly about noise and parking, mostly noise. And
right.
No one likes noise. I don't like noise because I live in Palm Springs too. And, I don't, in certain times of day, I really don't like noise, right?
Right, especially after, 9, 10 o'clock at night when, you hear some bass coming from down the street or something.
Exactly. So I understood where all that came from. But as that resentment was coming to a head, thankfully, the ordinance was getting put in place, and number of infractions and complaints have gone down precipitously. So
that's good.
We've got I think a good equilibrium now, and everyone's getting along and behaving. And I always say there are plenty of bars to scream at if you
right.
if you're so inclined. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, and they would love the noise, I'm sure, because
that makes the bar more popular.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the balancing act, right? You have a commercial operation within a residential area.
Right.
So for the people that probably bought those homes maybe 30, 40 years ago, they've been living there for many, many years, and it was never a vacation rental.
Correct.
Now you got this new thing. It's a nuisance in the neighborhood.
Right.
All the NIMBYs, all the not in my backyard people out
there.
Right. They're like, oh, great. They're going to have parties there every night, and it's going to be a nuisance. I have to deal with all these new cars showing up all the time. Like, some people are comfortable with the fact they know who drives what car down the street, and they know who their neighbors are and all that stuff at any one time. But it's tough for them, I think, to adapt sometimes to the changing environment that Airbnb is kind of created for some areas.
And what we do, though, is not only in our listing are the rules, and we say our biggest rule is the noise. I mean, that's what's going to get the cops called. That's what's going to create drama. And we have that in our listing. Depending on the group and whatever they're celebrating, I'll send them a text before they come, and then of course they see the form when they come about how many guests are allowed to stay at night, how many daytime guests, how many cars can park, and what the noise is. There's no amplification of noise 24/7.
Yeah.
So you can't play a radio outside. And after
that's new. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, and after, I don't know why I'm forgetting, I think it's 10. After 10 a.m., you can't hear any noise, even talking, can't emanate from your house to your neighbor's house.
So close your windows, close the doors. If you're going to have a conversation inside, keep it down. Even
or if you're outside, you can be outside, but just keep it down.
Right.
I mean, it's all common sense, but you have to legislate and spell out common sense.
And it depends on who your most, your closest neighbors, who they are too. And I'm sure, you have probably reached out to them all individually and have explained to them this is a vacation rental house, and they understand. And I'm sure if they have an issue, you'd probably prefer that they would call you first about it.
Exactly. And fortunately, one of the houses is in a neighborhood that it's a lot of vacation rentals.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you should do. Our first step of the book is Fantastic Finds, and really understand what your local ordinances are.
Yeah.
And what's your neighborhood like? Are there a lot of Airbnbs already? Are there a lot of second homes? That's a pretty good place maybe to think about having a vacation rental.
Right.
Versus, are there basketball hoops and swing sets, and you know, is it like
a lot of families?
Yeah, is it like deep in a tract neighborhood with a cul-de-sac? You might think twice about turning that into a vacation rental.
Yeah, that's tough because, I mean, you know, so many of the people that come to the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club and other investment clubs is that, you know, they're looking for a deal, and once fund finally falls into their lap that meets their purchasing criteria as far as like price-wise goes, you know, they're so excited they just want to jump on it and get it. But, you know, yeah, like you're saying, they might be buying a property in the completely wrong place. You know, this is not the best Airbnb or short-term rental. This is in a neighborhood, you know, primarily made up of families or retirees or something like that. This is not going to be the ideal spot
for either party.
Right.
You just don't want to upset the balance, and you have to, you know, be cognizant of that.
Yeah, because the people, again, this goes back to the nuances of your house. The people coming in as a guest, they don't know that your next door neighbor is a World War II veteran and, you know, goes to bed at 6 o'clock at night. You know, they don't know that unless you
they
tell
will find
them.
out.
Oh yeah, they'll find out. I heard one guy has a phone, a landline phone in the home in the Airbnb, and all the neighbors have access to that phone. So if any of the neighbors have an issue, they can call that phone in the house and talk to whoever's staying in there during their stay. To be able to tell them you're being too loud or whatever, because it's always noise, you know.
You know, it's funny though too. One thing I have the book, and we also have a website, and like I said, I contradicted myself on the coffee pots.
Right.
It's out there on the blog. Oh no, it will be out there on the blog because that was just dreamt up, the metal coffee pots. But we're constantly coming up with new material, and also I am Dear Airby. I don't know if you knew that.
Dear Airby.
I am Dear Airby.
Okay.
So people write in, they send questions, and I answer them honestly, and I try to break it into one or more of the chapters of the book of how to think about and spin the answer and give them some good advice. But yeah, on the website you can read about all the updates. And one thing we did is we tested and previewed because there's all kinds of software and hardware out there to help the industry, which is awesome. And one of them is called Noise Aware, and they call themselves a smoke detector for noise. Okay, and that's what it is. It looks smaller than a smoke detector, but it measures decibel levels. So you can put that in your house, and then they have a service. You pay a month annual fee, and then you're kind of insured for noise. You're the first one to find out that they're over a certain decibel level. So there's the industry is maturing, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, because that's actually kind of cool. I never even thought about something like that. That's a very cool device.
And it was developed by a vacation rental homeowner.
Yeah, who just wanted to, probably because he got a bunch of bachelor parties in there or something.
He got busted in his municipality, and that was the aha moment for him.
Yeah, this other guy, in addition to his landline phone inside the house that all the neighbors have the phone number to, he also has there was an issue where he rented it out over 4th of July weekend one year, and you know, they were lighting off like the big mortar style fireworks whoever he had staying there. So, you know, it's like one of these things he never thought to add in there, but he had to add in like no fireworks, you know, like just these little things that happen over time, you know, where like when he first started doing this property, there was no thought of it being a firework, you know. That was not even part of the house rules, you know, but now it's part of the house rules among like a large list of other things that are now part of it.
That's a good point. You know, people are always like, well, do you have checklists for your housekeepers? I'm like, well, sort of, and I'm kind of hoping for some common sense. For instance, once the housekeepers left the house unlocked, so do we really have to write down and lock the house when you leave?
It's funny how I had that same problem with the house we had out in Pacific Palisades. You know, the housekeeper, they went out there, they cleaned the house, and then we told them to put a lockbox on the house and set the combo to whatever combo we gave them, and they set the combo on the lockbox and put it on the kitchen counter, and didn't put the key in it, you know, and left the house unlocked. We're like, we show up like a week later. Fortunately, nobody broke in, you know, and I'm like, why is the house unlocked, you know, and what is this doing over here? And it was just one of those things. I'm like, why, how did this even happen? You know,
very unpredictable.
Yeah,
it's very
beats me. It beats me. I'm sure that you've had stuff like that happen too, but that's kind of where these rules come from. It's like after certain things happen, you like add to your list, right?
Right.
Like, so some of those things you've had happen, like obviously from your very first stay that you ever had, You said it was somebody like attending like a conference or something like that, right?
I did, and I have to tell you, I had a little bit of anxiety. The very first renter, I was like, she's in my place.
Yeah.
And then she asked me for an ironing board, and I thought I had one in the house, but I brought her one from the other house. I'm like, she's asking for an ironing board.
Yeah.
It was but then I was fine with it. After she came and left, then I'm like, I'm immune.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problems.
Yeah, whatever they need, just bring it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, and I have no problem with someone staying. I mean, the other ones, some of them were, purchased specifically for vacation rentals.
It's a little different.
But I'm detached, is all I'm trying to say.
And that, it probably takes a little bit for people to detach themselves from it because, it's your house. And I'm blown away that this girl, the first one we went to, I was blown away then that she was comfortable with people coming in there. And
she sounds pretty laissez-faire that she just let you in her own pad and no rules or anything. Yeah.
Supposedly she was like a musician and she travels the world and whatever. She's got places all over the world.
Oh, wow.
Little apartments that she keeps and stuff. So this is just her LA Hollywood apartment.
Cool.
So she was, from what I understand, a very, relaxed person. And of course, as soon as we get there, I knew nothing about her, but as soon as we get there, now I'm like curious, who is this person? So we're just Googling her, and I mean, what else are you going to do? You're in this person's home. I as well know as much of them about them. It's weird being as a guest in somebody's house like that, because if I'm ever staying as a guest in somebody's home, like I know them personally.
And here's another thing, though, is it's a fine line between having a antiseptic hospital type of, boring type of house. I mean, just because you're not making it personalized, it doesn't mean it doesn't need to be sort of personalized for where you live, the area, the environment, and very comfortable. I mean, always think about comfort.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because, finding out about this going actually because Stephen had talked to her after our stay and was sort of telling her some of these things, these issues, but this girl actually would have been comfortable with us doing literally anything we wanted within her condo. She had detached herself, but it didn't feel that way for me when I came in as a guest. So like if I needed to use some of her underwear, she probably would have been totally fine with it. Just throw it in the wash when you're done. Like that was what her attitude was after the fact. But going into it and while we were there, it didn't feel that way. So I think it's a very important thing for a host to be able to create that feeling for a guest that this needs to feel like you have full access of this facility here. This is your spot. Like, use it. And you can do everything here. Like anything that's restricted, like if you don't want them stealing all your Tide Pods, for example, maybe put a lock on that cabinet and keep it locked.
Or just keep buying them.
Keep buying them?
No, I'm kidding. That's another solution, right? I don't know whether that's avoidance or what that is, but yeah, that wouldn't be good to just keep buying them. That could break the bank.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually. I was telling you before the show that I had a guy on like 3 episodes ago, and he was saying, that he'd put out all these K-Pods for the Keurig, and he put out all these Tide Pods for the washing machine, and the first guest they had in there stole them all. You're thinking that these are just, like shampoos in a hotel. You can just take them with you, and there's nothing saying he couldn't, but he filed a claim with Airbnb and he eventually got paid for it.
Oh, wow.
Because it was like a Costco-sized container of these. It wasn't like, a 10-pack, it was like a box of them. So.
Yeah, the closest I've come to something like that is we leave condiments in the refrigerator, ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce.
Sure.
Different kinds of mustard. We're fancy. We've got yellow, brown,
Dijon.
And Dijon.
Yeah. Okay. You got it covered. You just need the honey mustard and you'll be good.
Maybe it's the keto thing. I'm not doing the honey mustard.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And I want everyone else to
just
suffer.
Be like you. Yeah.
Yeah, suffer. And but sometimes there's no condiments left. But I didn't file a claim on that.
Yeah.
But then, we have to go out and get it.
Sure.
But we know, but that's part of the system, right? They know to buy the 3 types of mustard, barbecue sauce if you're feeling willing, and definitely some ketchup too.
So and you just put this on the checklist for, is it the cleaning crew that comes in and takes care of that?
Yeah, or the property manager, or me, or just someone's got to take care of it. Yeah.
So do you have like multiple checkpoints, like where as people come in, the guest stays, and then once they check out, is there like a process?
I have my own protocol. So I'm soup to nuts. I'm handling everything. I know, for instance, this week, my housekeeper in Paso Robles, I don't know why it's all about that one place, but anyway, the housekeeper is on a 3-week break.
Okay.
And she's got a great backup. The backup's awesome too. I mean, they're a great crew. But the backup said, "You're out of paper towels." So Linda, the property manager, I'm like, "Linda, we're out of paper towels."
Yeah.
And she's like, "We are?" I'm like, "Well, that's what I'm being told," because I sent her out to the Smart and Final.
Yeah.
And I said, look in the cabinets. There's no paper towels. She's like, "No, there's no paper towels." And she said, "I need them." And I said, "Well, of course you do. And so everyone needs paper towels,
Yeah.
right? It's very, very important to have paper towels."
Right.
And then the next day, Linda said, there's a cabinet stuffed with paper towels. There's plenty of paper towels. I said, "Linda, why don't we label the cabinets
Paper towels.
So we've labeled all the cabinets now.
Okay, so now you know where everything's stored.
Yeah, because I don't know where. I never knew where it was either. I
Yeah.
just opened every cabinet till I found what I needed. But
Yeah,
we're living and learning.
Sure. I mean, and you could break this down to such a microscopic level, because even, I can be kind of like this too. Like, we have a business, we have a bunch of things, a lot of little assets floating around out there. Like these headphones that we're wearing, these are assets of the company. Like, where do they get stored? Who's,
Right.
So we have cabinets for all the different, things. And so at one point I wanted to put a piece of paper on the inside of the cabinet that not only showed what's supposed to be in there, but where it's supposed to be.
A blueprint.
Basically, yeah. And I got inspired by this one time because I saw a grocery store. Somebody had left the piece of paper like sitting next to one of the cereal boxes, that had exactly how that shelf is supposed to look.
Okay.
It had Cinnamon Toast Crunch Frosted Flakes. It was laid out exactly how it's supposed to look, and that was on shelf 2, and here's shelf 3. Like, I was like, that's interesting. I like the way that that's set up. Like, if you go to Home Depot, they have the app. You can you're like, I'm looking for this particular light bulb. It'll tell you it's on aisle 15, shelf 4, and it tells you like basically which where to look to find that exact
You'll
thing.
show me how to use that later, right?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
It helps.
That's huge.
And like, so the same thing goes where if you're looking for paper towels, just having a cabinet labeled paper towels is a huge improvement over nothing. Because who knows? I mean, I like the idea of having a checklist, especially for somebody doing that.
No, and absolutely. And it's become a little bit, I want to say organic again, but as far as the cadence of when I'm reaching out to guests and things like that, it's pretty mechanical on my part.
Yeah.
I'll set an alarm on my iPhone so it'll go off at like 6 p.m. on a day that something's happening the next day. So someone's either checking in or checking out the next day. 6 p.m., I figure that's kind of a safe time to contact folks, and I'll text them, hope you had a great stay, and, we can accommodate a late checkout if you need it, and what time are you thinking? And then they'll get back to me and they'll say, "Oh, we'd love to take you up on it. Thank you."
Right.
And then I reply back with the simple checkout instructions, which are also on the listing and in our house guide.
Right.
But I just, make it easy for them.
Yeah.
And so I try to give them the information before they ask me. That's always the goal, is you give them the information before they have to come to you for it.
Right. Yeah, because most people, if left to their own devices, are going to probably do nothing, right?
No. People are very diligent, and they'll say, "Yeah, what's the cleanup instructions?" And then sometimes I do forget to set the alarm, or whatever happens, and
Right.
I don't. And then I tell them late. So I mean, but yeah, no, people. I've had 98% awesome experiences. I mean, everyone is on their bit, and they get reviewed too. We get reviewed,
Sure.
They get reviewed. And I think that's one of the benefits of being on a social app like Airbnb, and the other platforms have reviews as well. So that, I mean, whichever platform you use, if it's got a social aspect and a review aspect, that's a big plus.
Sure, yeah. I mean, having that accountability, to yourself, that if you ever want to use this platform again, if you have a 1-star rating because you're a terrible guest,
Yeah.
you're a nightclub or you're a bachelorette party promoter, and you just always have the worst reviews or something. I could see that happening. So yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons to use something like Airbnb.
Exactly.
But some other people like to use VRBO.
Yeah, and it's very, very similar platforms. One thing that we're going to do a test. We're going to try out Booking.com.
Okay.
And they have no, I shouldn't say completely different model. They have a different model in the fact that when you book through Airbnb, Airbnb adds fees.
Okay.
So you never know exactly what your guest is paying.
Okay.
So they have a sliding calculator,
kind of scale,
some type of algorithm, and maybe when they're low on money, they make it higher. No,
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I don't know who made that up in the tenderloin there. Anyway, so but the way Booking.com is the price that you put there is the price that the guest is paying. But where they make it up is that they send you an invoice at a month later.
Okay.
For their commissions.
I see.
So in other words, you're paying later on the money, probably around the same percentage that it actually gets absorbed from the guest fees and your Airbnb fees. So I want to try it out, and I'm going to do a legitimate test where I see which one performs better and what books faster. So I'm excited about trying that out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, because whenever you talk about short-term rentals, the first thing out people's mouths is Airbnb.
It is, but because I'm in the industry and go to these different events and meet these folks, it's kind of a small circle of folks that are doing it. But there's there's lots of softwares. There's just a few different hardware companies, and there's only a few different platforms. But I've come to know them, and I want to test it out because I think I owe that for my knowledge,
and for the industry,
and with doing the seminar that we're having our first one in February 9th, actually in Corona.
Yep.
Yeah, we're excited about that in our hometown, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Near the club.
Near the club.
Yeah, near the club, man. So yeah, and for my own education, I want to understand it because Airbnb's been great to me. Oh, okay, wait, I've got to tell you that there was a life-changing event with Airbnb this year. No. A good positive
good
thing.
one. Okay.
Late September, I was pinching myself. They're like, we've got this new payment program. Would you like to take advantage of it? And the payment program is, when you get a booking, we'll pay you half 3 days later up to 4 months out.
Wow.
And we'll charge you 1%. I'm like, okay, so you're going to improve my cash flow phenomenally for 1%? Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, it's awesome.
See, I was going to say, like, having multiple platforms on in the space at the same time is good because if you have VRBO and Booking.com and Airbnb and all the other ones that are out there that I've probably never even heard of at this point, having those, the more that they're in the space, the better the services are going to get for the hosts and for the guests.
Yeah, it's probably true.
And it seems like the disclosure of fees. It's sort of like which way they're leaning. Are they leaning more host favoring or are they leaning more guest favoring? If they want to disclose fees to the guests, maybe they're looking more for the consumer protection side. Who knows? Maybe that's a better platform for the guests to be on. But if they're disclosing fees to the hosts, maybe it's a little bit better for the host to be posting on that or something. I don't know. I mean, that's
why I want to test.
That's why you want to test it.
Exactly.
And I think that's great. You got to have these people out there constantly testing the systems and see where the better systems lie, because everyone's going to have their own probably thing they're really good at.
Right.
You can say, oh, Booking.com is amazing. The booking process is simple. And I don't know this to be true. I'm just saying this is for instance, but maybe Booking.com is amazing at the booking
and
part
that
of it.
Platform itself, they put the listings out on, Booking.com and other hotel type of platforms. So I'm just curious to see how it pans out.
Yeah, because I think I saw something, because you've heard of Trivago, I'm sure.
Yes.
Trivago, I think they're showing stuff from Booking.com, which would be like vacation rentals. So if you're looking for a hotel to stay at, for example, in Palm Springs, you're going to get all the hotel listings from Expedia and all these other ones, and then you're going to see from Booking.com maybe some houses that are around there, condos or whatever also, which, I can't imagine there's people that have never heard of a vacation rental at this point, but I'm sure they're out there. And, there's another thing where, you might go on to Expedia or something like that, and you're looking to get a hotel, and you never even thought to rent a house. This has to come into play for large families, because most hotels are not designed for larger families. if you want to all be in the same room.
Right.
So,
Or cooking and things like that. Right.
Yeah, if you have an extended stay or something like that.
Right.
Like, most people aren't going to be in a hotel for a week, although it happens, I'm sure. But, if you're going to be in there for a week, you don't want to eat out for every single meal. Sometimes you just want to save a little money and cook inside, and
there's a convenience factor.
True.
Just being able to grab something to eat.
Yeah, coffee, for example.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning, you don't have to get all made up to go down and get some coffee somewhere,
How do you get made up for your coffee?
Oh, I don't drink much coffee.
So you don't have to get made up.
Yeah, I gave up coffee about a year and a half ago.
What, man.
I was having some today. Sometimes I do have a little bit of coffee, but it's like in the afternoon.
Okay.
This time but when I did, I would just wake up.
So wait, you gave up coffee, more for me.
Yeah, exactly. More for you.
Thank you.
It's not easy. It's not easy kicking a caffeine habit. That's a tough one. It's headaches. You get headaches and
No, I did it once. I weaned myself off of it though slowly.
See, cold turkey. That's how I like to do it. Just,
man, you're brave.
Stop. It was tough, but it worked. My wife and I both did it at the same time. It worked out pretty well. We both kicked it, and now it's like coffee only when we need it, and it actually works, which is great.
All right, and you're both irritable at the same time.
No, it's pretty good. Wake up not feeling like I need it. It's different. It's very different. It's like a different world.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what I was going with.
I'll get around to it.
Yeah, one day I'm just gonna beat it into you.
Well, I told you I'm keto now, right?
Right. Yep.
And I'm doing January.
Yep.
Right. So I'm dry in January.
Oh, it's tough. I'm doing it too.
But I'm still having coffee.
Yeah, I have
a
coffee.
line. The line is coffee.
Right, exactly. I had a little coffee today. That's why I'm so energetic right now.
Cool.
But
it's not the topic.
It's not the topic. But hey, we're talking about
the topic's not making you energetic.
You know what? It is actually. I mean, because the show's great. I have a lot of people out here, but it's good to have somebody that you have a lot of experience, a lot of stories, and I'm sure you'd love to share more stories too. But because that's what people like to hear is the war stories and all the things that have gone wrong, as well as the things that have gone right. But I know a lot of people learn more from the things that go wrong.
No, and I do.
Yeah,
and constantly.
Because whenever things go right, you're like, of course it went right. I did it like that for a specific reason,
Yeah, but it's like you said, systems and actually putting it into the design, into the DNA of the project. So, yeah,
and I really appreciated the first chapter of the book, and because the first chapter, the chapters get smaller as the book goes on.
That's called laziness?
I wouldn't call it laziness because it doesn't need that much meat.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And your book, it really is meat. There's not much fluff in here. I mean, I'm sure you've read, a billion personal development books, as I've done.
Yes.
And 75% of the book is fluff, and it says the same "you can do it" kind of thing in 100 different ways they say it. But then there's 25% of the book is actual things you could do to be more organized or whatever it is that you need to do that book's trying to help you accomplish. And so you don't get much meat, but your book's like 95% meat and 5% fluff. You can do it, which is good.
No, I appreciate that. And yeah, I hope that it's interesting. And actually my most important thing is I had I don't know how many friends read it, and I'm like, did you laugh?
Yeah,
Did anything make you laugh? Okay, good.
Yeah, of course.
That's all I care about, really.
No, I laughed a few times in there.
Okay, good.
You used what was it? There was one that's standing on my mind. You'd used a word in there, and it was I don't know. It was just funny how you would describe. You'd use this word. I can't remember it right now, but it was towards the end. I remember because I read it today.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. It was like you made me laugh. It was funny.
Yeah, I mean it's
lighthearted.
Some of it's tongue in cheek, right? I mean,
you
just want to. It's not rocket science.
It's not
nuclear science.
But to some people who've never been in real estate, you came from the IT world, right?
I did, but also I've had a life in real estate investing and flipping.
Yeah,
back in the day, not the recent run up,
but it doesn't change much.
Probably not. Paint and carpet. Yeah,
right. You can still do those things to a house. Yeah,
awesome.
But they, it was. For some people coming in, like they're working in a completely different industry. And I know
Understood.
There's probably people listening right now that don't.
And that's why I wanted to make the book like a fresh perspective on really what are the basic things, what are the gotchas.
Yeah.
And I did just want to break it down.
Sure.
And once I came up with the idea of putting it into the 10 steps, then I was like, okay, this is going to be easy to finish this book.
Yeah. And I think it was laid out very, very well. The only thing I would say is that for the person that maybe doesn't know anything about real estate, right now, there's a slight learning curve you need to have. You need to have the real estate 101 before you can jump into this book. So you need to understand, escrow and, just some basic stuff on how to purchase a property.
Sure.
How do you finance it? That's not something that's covered in the book.
No, not at all. No. Yeah, there's probably an assumption that you've purchased a house.
Exactly, that you have some familiarity with real estate.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
It's but yeah, like I said, it's a good book, and but you got to have some basic knowledge of real estate before you jump into this, which you probably should anyway.
You should.
If you're going to do any kind of real estate investing.
Absolutely, and all the disclaimers you said at the beginning, double.
Yeah, fully apply.
Fully apply.
Yeah, and so anyway, I guess we only got a couple minutes left. So why don't you tell us a little bit how people can get this book?
It is available on all the different platforms. So it's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million.
Books A Million.
Books A Million.
Never heard of it.
It's regional. I think it's definitely in the South. It might be in Texas.
Okay.
So, but they're online too.
So the book's called Master of Vacation Rentals.
Yeah, Master of Vacation Rentals.
And you're Jeff Pierce.
I'm Jeff Pierce.
You're the author.
I'm the author, and you can come to our website, which is www.masterofvacationrentals.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got a thing coming up, a seminar you're going to be teaching.
We do. Month? It's in Corona at the Staybridge Suites.
Okay.
On February 9th. It's a Saturday.
Okay.
And you will get a certificate, whether you pass my trick questions or not on the quiz.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're there and
at least keep your eyes open for the majority of it.
If you're listening and you understand some of it and you can argue with the answers that I give, and we'll give you a certificate, which is actually a numbered certificate.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
You can earn that.
Okay. So how do people get information for that?
Come to our website. We have tickets on, and for the listeners here, we have a promo code called Special. So if you type in Special promo code, you'll get 50% off the early bird pricing, which will be $50.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. So go ahead and I guess we'll see you all again next week. Check out meetup.com for the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. We'll see you all again next week. Take care, everyone.